Hello, welcome to Sales 101. I'm your host, Matt Zimmer. This is a live stream show about sales where we get into all the nitty gritty on what you can do to improve your sales skills in a digital first economy. Got a great show. We've got a guest that's lined up, although still trying to get him on the stream, but we've been talking, and that should be very cool coming here shortly. Mayank, I see you on the screen. I will add you here in 1 second. Let me just get intros out of the way. Like I said, I'm your host, Matt Zimmer. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done quite a few things in the entrepreneurial space, but find myself currently live streaming to try to help people promote their business, get the word out there on different ways people are approaching the kind of the digital first economy. And so today we're going to be talking to Mayank Chanalwala. I'm going to need your help, Mayank, with your last name, but he is head of sales and digital marketing at Big Scale Technologies, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they do and have some fun. So Mayank, let me add you here, and we'll get started. Awesome. Can you hear me, Mayank?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mike.
Cool. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm going very good. How's you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining me, I guess, this evening for you, my morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me in the room, Matt. You also. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So, I'm interested in talking to you. I took a look at your profile a bit and got a little bit of information on kind of what you do, what your history is, and kind of what Big Scale does. But can you give me a gist of kind of what your role is and what Big Scale does?
See, so basically my role was that basically I'm a head of sales and digital marketing over here at Biscale since last 1.5 plus years. And if I am talking about the Biscale, then Biscale is a software development company. It's outsource any kind of the software that deliver the customized software, web apps, mobile apps, cross-platform apps, and any kind of the software development services you want that Biscale provide. We are currently working with any booming technology like React, Node, AI, ML, and many other technologies like Vue.js and any kind of the software solution that people ask for the end wants a reliability regarding any kind of the platform that we are providing over here.
Gotcha. What I'm kind of interested. So the kind of the tech stack that you mentioned. What kind of do you see any trends? Like when I ask that, I'm kind of asking. My feel is that like some of these kind of traditionally like more enterprise focused technologies are starting to become more approachable by kind of smaller companies. Is that something you guys are seeing or focusing on, or how do you kind of think about what scale of company that you think what you guys do is a good match for? Did that make sense?
Yeah, we providing any kind of the enterprise solutions. We have we are working with different verticals of the enterprises. Like we have one of the best client of the oil and gas base of company from USA, and from the Biscale, there are many of the our employees working over there. So we are also working on Web3 platforms and providing services for the Web3
Mhm.
technologies. Also, we are working on the Power BI technology. We are also working in blockchain and the crypto and other challenging platforms, technologies like the web secure technologies. Currently, we are working like uh, recently React Native, Android, iOS, Swift,
Mhm.
and we are working with any kind of, like, we are providing solution any kind of the customer or end client need. We provide the solution for that.
What do you are there any like interesting things that you're seeing companies do? Are there any trends that you're kind of seeing that are getting more popular?
Recently, if I say that more recently popular technology is for the Java. It is a very uh, from since last past 2 3 months, I am getting more and more inquiries regarding the Java, Selenium,
Hmm.
and this technology. A client is asking for the developers for this particular technology.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. What what so you're focused. You said you're focused on kind of enterprise applications. Are most of the companies you work for enterprise size? Are they startup size? Kind of like what's the scale of companies that you kind of go after?
We is so yeah, so big scale is are open to work with any kind of the enterprise. Like we are SME too. We are working with large scale companies. Some of our developers are working for the Walmart also, and
Gotcha.
we are also tie up with the startups that we are going to tie up like this. Like if they want to take supports from us, we are collaborate with the startup also. So we are working with the 2 3 developers like startup kind of the company, as well as the huge and giant companies like the Walmart also. So big scale is open for open for the work with the any kind of the startup to enterprise level companies.
Gotcha. What do you notice? Like, what's the difference between how you approach those companies? Do you staff them differently? Do you have to like? Is it just a client of a different size, or is it something unique between different clients of different sizes?
Yeah, this basically is a different size of the matter, but is in at the initial season we just have to just collaborate with them. Like for the startup, they have many times they don't have funds that they want to invest in the tech stack. Invest in the technology, so we collaborate them and we provide them the basic tech support to them. And for the enterprise level, they have a very good amount of the budget,
Yeah.
so there is no any issue regarding the budget. So
Gotcha.
we are
Okay.
working in the both companies. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm kind of interested just when it comes to being. So I used to run a software agency, so I've got some knowledge and experience of kind of a little bit of what you do. Um, do you have any advice that you would give potential customers on how to be more efficient or the most efficient or most effective, with their money working with you? Like how can a company kind of, get the best value when they work with you guys? Does that make
Mm,
sense?
if I
I can ask
say
it. I can
that,
ask it another way if that's helpful.
yeah.
What
Sure.
maybe is there something you can like a project that's been successful, a project that you think is like, man, that went really 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 well, and maybe it isn't not necessarily your biggest project or something like that, just something you'd be like, wow, that went,
Sorry, I cannot hear properly. Sorry, Matt.
yeah, no
Can you
problem.
just come again?
Yeah, so can you hear me now?
Just wait.
You're all right. technology problems, right? These are
I lost your voice,
okay.
Matt.
Can you hear me now?
Hello,
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
hello.
No, nothing. All right. I'm sure this is clearly a problem that we will not be able to solve. Let me. I'll try turning off and turning my mic back on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Bank, can you hear me now? No? Nothing? Bank, are you able to hear me?
Sorry, Matt, I cannot hear you.
All right, I am not sure what to do about that. My mic is on. I'm assuming the global audience can hear me. Nothing, huh? Man, it just went out. I'll unmute it. Still nothing happening, huh?
Hello, Matt.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. How about this, Mank? I'm going to ask you to sign off and then rejoin. And let's see how that goes. And while we're doing that, we'll kick you off. And then we'll see what happens here. Anyway, sorry about that. Technical problems always happen. I'm sure the 25,000 of you that are listening don't mind that though, so not a big deal. Well, we're getting into. We'll see if Mayank joins here in a bit. If he does, we will pop him back on. If not, there he is. Let's see if he's working.
Yeah.
Mayank, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
There we go. Cool. So I was kind of talking about if you could identify a project that you thought went really well. What were kind of can you identify like the reasons maybe that it went that it went really well, or what are there things that you could identify that you would suggest to other companies that if they kind of did that they could have a very successful project? Does that make sense?
Little bit. As far as I can understand your things, like you want to ask me to how the projects works and from like signing to sign off journey, like delivered.
Yeah. I think what I'm asking is, so let's say we've got a project that's a $10,000 budget, and we've got another project that's a $50,000 budget. Oftentimes a $10,000 budget will be successful, and a $50,000 budget won't be successful. And a client that had a lower budget project with you may be very happy, and the client that had a very high budget may be angry for some reason. So I don't think budget is always just an indicator of success. I think obviously more money makes things easier, but for those projects that proved to be successful, is there a reason that you can identify? Was there an attitude that a company had towards working with your company? Did they? I know for me, I always liked having highly active clients that gave like in time, very fast feedback, because it allows us to iterate, versus kind of waiting until something was delivered and then telling me what we did wrong. I'm wondering if you have kind of a similar experience on what are some things that when you had a successful relationship with a client, like what were the reasons maybe those things were successful, or maybe even if you want to identify failures, what were the reasons maybe some projects didn't go as well as they possibly could have. I'm basically trying to see if we can get some advice for people that may want to work with you. How could they work, very effectively with you guys?
Yeah, so basically, as per you, you ask, there is very less chance to we disappoint to clients. We always first gather the amount of the amount of the questionnaires from the client. So there is very less chance to we don't touch to the uh, to provide a client our best. We never fails to impress the client, like for the any kind of the projects, either it is a $1,000 or it is a $10,000. So we
Hmm.
provide our best with the any kind of the budget to our clients. Our attitude is that, so budget is not that yeah, of course budget is mandatory for the all the enterprise. But as far as the we sign with the any kind of the deal with the clients, we always try to give our best, either this budget is 1,000 or the 10,000.
Gotcha.
Second things that you ask, like what, yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry, if
yeah, that's it.
you have something else.
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. So kind of a client of any size, you guys will put best effort forward and try to produce kind of the best
yeah,
solution
yeah,
for them.
yeah.
Okay. Great. What how do you think about staffing a team? Do you create a I'm kind of assuming you work in like an agile structure. Is that right?
I didn't get you. I didn't
Do
get you.
you do you work in an agile structure?
Yeah, we work. Yes, we work in the
Yeah.
agile structure. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there is a kind of the hierarchy in our organization also. We are working on the agile structure. Yeah.
Gotcha. So do you provide like project management then to your clients, or do you
Yeah.
expect them to kind of provide that? Gotcha.
No. We provide project management to the clients, and we provide the developers and any kind of the requirement that client of. We currently hire the 75 plus the developers in our from this December in our organization. So we are currently 250 plus in 250 plus employee in at the big scale.
Gotcha. Okay. So
So yeah,
so you'll kind of staff up if the number of developers basically
we
you'll
provide
staff up depending on the job size.
we provide staff augmentation to the we are working with the staff augmentation model also, and we provide developers, dedicated developers to the any for the any technology we are working. We are our expertise technology is Node, React Native, Java, ASP.NET, MVC, and Core Java, and these kinds of things.
Cool. Okay. Great. Um, do you mind if I ask a question about kind of your job at the company? Is that all right? I'm interested in, since
Sorry.
I'm wondering if I can ask you're in I know you're in sales and marketing for Big Scale. I'm kind of
Yeah.
interested. What are your kind of sales and marketing efforts like? I mean, I do a lot of sales stuff, so I'm always trying to think about how to do sales and marketing, get in front of clients. What is your guys kind of like? What does your outreach kind of look like? How do you go about getting new clients?
So basically, we are get especially if I am getting leads from the in direct email, we are getting from other clients, like
Yeah.
to our contact us page and our particular email that for the sales and the contact at the big scale. This is a particular we are getting the leads from there, and we are getting inquire from the client from the different across the globe. This is one kind of the one direct inquiries we are getting, and the reason behind the success behind that inquiries for the that we have a developer, we have the team of the 5 to 6 plus of the SEOs and the digital marketing team over here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you do any like Upwork or that type of platform, or are you mainly that's stuff too?
We have Upwork model also. So
Gotcha.
we are actively on the Upwork also, and we are getting the leads from that also.
Gotcha. How is that? I've done that a little bit, and I personally haven't had a lot of success. Do you guys have success on Upwork?
So we for the Upwork, I am not that much engaged with that model. I am engaged with that particularly direct sales. Like if I already talked that I am looking look after that what are the leads come from the direct on the inquiry on the website.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I was gonna pull up.
May I know what? Sorry, Matt. May I know what are the sales model you are practicing? Like how you get leads and what is your basic what you do? I think I sorry to ask you so much late. What is your role and what is like what you actually do?
Yeah, I do. That's a loaded question. I do kind of sales, like consulting sales work for a few different companies. So I actually do, companies will hire me to do like actual sales effort and client attraction for them. And then this kind of live stream is my one. It's a little bit of like self promotion, obviously, but it's also I'm also trying to put some effort towards helping agencies. I mean, I think the work that I ran a software agency, but United States based, but we hired quite a few Indian teams, and what I saw was I think there's a lot of supply, meaning there's a lot of teams in India that are doing software development, and really getting those teams attached to United States clients, I think is an area where I can help. What I saw was I just think it's a big need. I think there's a big need for kind of smaller, more agile software development teams that, in my eyes, I don't think they exist in the US. I think kind of the US developers that I've seen, I think they ask for too much money. I think the Indian teams are from a cost perspective, I think they're a lot more efficient with dollars. And I think as through the pandemic and kind of getting comfortable with video chat, I don't think like most teams are kind of outsourced anyways, so you don't lose a whole lot with, not sitting next to your team. So to me, there's a cost efficiency, and I don't think you lose a whole lot from being overseas. So that does that answer your question? Sorry if I kind of went off there a little bit.
Yeah. No, I got your question. Yeah. So I am also eager to connect with you if you want any kind of the developers from big scale. Then we are happy to help you and connect with you and collaborate with you the same.
Yeah, do you mind can I pop up your website and maybe just ask a couple questions on your website, if that's all right?
Yeah.
I think you should be able to. I think you should be able to see this. This will be interesting. I haven't done a two-screen. Let's see. I've got it pulled up. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. All right. Can you see? This is your website, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm
Perfect.
interested. You've got a 14-day. I mean, like this is a kind of an
Yeah.
interesting call to action. You've got a 14-day risk-free trial. Can you
Yes.
describe like what
Yeah.
that is and how that works?
Yeah, basically this is a trial period of our developers, that you want to try out our developers in any technologies we are providing. You can try out this 14 days period trial period of our developers. Our developers work for your company and or your client for this 14 days trial period. And if you satisfy with our developers or the candidate that you hired, we can collaborate ahead, and we can go ahead with like commercially, and also we can deal the contract.
Got it. So I sign up, then we have kind of like a kickoff meeting, and then you'll kind of like assign a developer to the project. Is that kind of
like after sign up, after the filling of this form, like you put some information, our sales team will connect with you and reach out with you, and after like that we are in conversation with email, also some Google Meet and other things, and we are ready to go.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah. And then you guys have your services here. You kind of mentioned, you went through this stuff. You mentioned AI ML. I'm interested, like what are you mainly using AI ML type stuff for right now? Mayank, did that make sense? Sorry, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What are you using AI and ML work mainly for? Is there certain types of applications you're working on right now with AI and ML?
We are in just the beginning of this technology right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. Well, this is interesting. I didn't know that you could do. I didn't know you could do kind of a 14-day trial. So I think that that's a good way of getting people in the pipeline. And so it's just bigscale bigscal.com, and people can sign up there. I'll throw the URL up at the bottom. Maybe it won't work. I'm still getting used to this software, so some of the times I try to do something, it doesn't work. There we go. What else? Is there anything else that you'd kind of like to add before we maybe sign out here?
Sorry, can you come again?
Is there anything else you'd like to add maybe before we sign out?
Yeah, not as much, not that much, but thank you so much for having me in your room.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you want to try it out, if you want to try out our developers and any kind of the deal with us, we are always. You can reach out to me. You have my personal. I think, do you have my email ID?
Yep.
Mayank@bigscale.com. I will drop you a message on the LinkedIn. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn, that if you want any kind of the software needs or developer needs, we also provide this, like you also know, the 14 days trial period developers.
Great. Cool. Yeah. Well, awesome. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you. Same.
All right. Take care.
Same here. Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye, Matt.
Bye. All right. Well, thanks for taking a listen to that conversation. Some interesting things came out of that for me. I actually thought it was really interesting to see a 14-day free trial on developers. I've seen that from a few other people. I would love to try it. I don't have personally don't have a software project I'm working on right this second, but I think that's a really interesting way to get people in to start trying out your services. So that might be interesting. I'll pop this up once again. Let's see. There we go. So there's their website. There's that 14-day risk-free trial. And yeah, I think it'd be really interesting to, if some people want to try that out and then maybe report back on whether or not that service is worth it. Cool. So I'm going to jump in and actually start going through something that we started working on yesterday, and we'll take a little bit further. And hopefully that'll be our sales lesson, our sales skills lesson for the day. And if you do have any questions, comments, or anything like that, if you're on LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, I don't know, somehow you're viewing this some other way, feel free to give me a comment on something you'd like me to talk about from a sales perspective. Happy to answer any specific questions you might have or cover any specific topics. But I'm going to move now to our top 3 values, attributes to consider. And we're going to talk a little bit about some specific sales skills that you can hone to improve your overall close rate and become a better salesperson. So we'll talk about these for a minute, and we'll see where we go. So the top 3 value attributes to consider. So when we're doing sales, the 3 attributes that we want to consider are price, time, and quality. I've said this before, while those are not in any order, they are in an order. Obviously that's a bit of a oxymoron, but there's a slight weighting to these, but not a huge weighting. So we want to consider price, time, and quality when we are selling, and really price is the most important. Quality is the least important, but relatively equal. So just remember, when you're selling, those are the top 3 things you need to think about. And when we bundle those together, that's what we consider value. And buyers purchase based on value, not on any single attribute. There is a weighted average, and depending on how close you hit to the buyer's needs, wants, and desires, you will either win or lose based on how close you're based on the value that you provide. All right, so price, time, and quality, those are the top 3 attributes. Once we've got those 3 attributes in mind, these are the main steps that we take to actually close a sale. So number 1 is establish your baseline. So what that means is, if we think about those 3 attributes, price, time, and quality, as like little sliders. Okay, so like little, from like 0 to 100, let's say. At the midpoint, we want to establish our baseline. So that doesn't mean that, we don't really have a 0 to 100, because for all 3 of these, there is no real maximum. We can always increase the budget, we can always increase the time, and we can always increase the quality. So what we're trying to do is establish the baseline. Is really by talking to the customer, we want to establish what they consider the baseline. What is kind of the mean average for, what is an average kind of job look like? All right, so we establish that baseline. Then what we want to do is determine our sensitivity. So we determine our price sensitivity, followed by our time sensitivity. And what that means is, with an adjustment of 1, let's say, and 1 could be for price $1, time maybe it's 1 day or something like that, or 1 unit of effort that a customer needs to put into getting the product set up or something like that. So time can be measured a few ways. In services, it is speed to delivery. in with physical goods, that may, if people are ordering large quantity, that may be speed to delivery of those goods. If they're ordering a single one, it may be speed to get up to working or something like that. So time can take on a few different things depending on exactly what we're selling. But basically, we want to determine the sensitivity that the customer has to those two traits, and that will inform us, kind of how much we can tweak those to where a customer will, quote unquote, get upset. And then basically we want to work to close. And what work to close means is we're really adjusting the slider so that we can fit the baseline expectations to what our team can actually deliver. Generally, the baseline is not something that we have in stock, quote unquote, or a reasonable timeline or whatever. There's usually some amount of flex, and working to close is really us working to meet the buyer's needs or get the buyer to flex off their baseline by offering them price time options. Now you'll notice that quality isn't on there as something that we flex, because quality, we always strive to hit the highest possible quality regardless of what the customer asks us for. So quality is really, it's always just, we try to do our best. Now, oftentimes, if a customer is too aggressive on price and time, quality will suffer. What we do is we inform the customer of that, but clearly we'll always hit our best quality. So we don't need to inform them too hard. We can inform them that quality will suffer, and but we're still going to do our best to hit the highest quality. So because of that, we don't really need to worry about quality too much, because we've informed the customer of the quality that we can hit, and they're clearly on board and aligned if we are open and honest with them. So that's what working to close looks like. I mentioned yesterday that we'll spend some more time speaking about working to close, but generally that's kind of how it works. So maybe later in this week or next week we'll talk about working to close and how we can improve our close rate through a few different things. Now, I added on a slide here this morning to try to extend these principles and give a little bit more information on, what you can do and the mentality that you can take to become a better salesperson. And those are a couple of do's and don'ts. So these are just simple things that you want to do and some things that maybe you want to avoid. And I tried to couple these together into some kind of like opposing, some opposing traits that I know I suffer from. But when I have two things in my head and I'm able to, focus on consciously, making sure that I'm, kind of keeping both these in mind, I find that I do a far better job than I otherwise would. So let's cover these. So do's and don'ts for sales. So one, be honest but empathetic. Okay, so being honest, I think is, you'll hear people say, I'm just telling it like it is, or something like that. That to me is being honest. It's being fully open, fully truthful. Giving people a truthfully honest opinion. Really from like your core. I think that's important. And a good salesperson needs to be able to be open and honest. Now, to couple with that, I've got but empathetic. I don't necessarily think those are fully opposed, but I do think being empathetic will often take like the hard edge off of an honest comment. So this really comes down to being honest, but considering what you're saying and trying to say it in a open and constructive way. And if you can do that, you're being successful. And if you can't, you're probably being hurtful, or you're not being honest, and then you're just kind of lying. So those are kind of my two opposed points for number one: be honest but empathetic. Number two, be direct but humble. So again, these are similar to number one. Some people might say they're the same, but so direct meaning, so you want to be direct, which means don't beat around the bush, say what you mean. And again, this is where, with number one, we may get a little bit confused and say that, hey, these things are exactly the same, but I think they're different. Being direct is being pointed, not kind of beating around the bush. When you see something, say something. Now, being humble is, acknowledging that while you have an opinion, you're not necessarily correct. One person's opinion, regardless of experience, there's always a chance you're wrong. It doesn't really matter. You may have 35 years of experience and you may, quote unquote, know that, something's right or wrong. There's still a chance that you're not right, or that the other person could be, correct in their viewpoint. Nothing is ever 100% certain. So, being direct, but still being humble, kind of regardless of level of experience, I think is important. As a salesperson, you'll often have more experience kind of with the specific piece of with the good or the service, that you're selling. So, not being overbearing, I think is important. So be direct, but be humble. And I think that'll allow your message to be received successfully. Last, be rigid but flexible. Obviously, another one that is similar to the other two. These are totally opposed ideas, but it's important to be rigid but flexible. What that requires you to do is to know where and when you can be rigid and where and when you can be flexible. So, oftentimes there's there'll be a big kind of gap, I guess, between there'll be a really big gap between what sales kind of wants to sell and kind of maybe what the customer's asking for, and what engineering, can deliver. I think that's a pretty common one. And what we want to do is as a salesperson, you want to have the knowledge about, what can engineering actually be flexible on, and when they can't. So that's really what it comes down to. Be rigid but flexible. It requires you to be really knowledgeable about your products or services that you're offering, right? And that'll allow you to then be flexible, when you're able to. So this is kind of if you follow this, you'll know when to say no. And knowing when to say no, I think, is really important. I think customers need pushback. Frankly, I think giving a customer a no improves product and performance rather than stifles it. I think it creates us, when we know that there are barriers that'll create an environment where we need to be creative to find solution. And that, if we don't do that, if we just tell people their wildest dreams can happen, one, we're probably not being honest. Two, it's probably not that good of a solution. If it's just kind of baked in and ready, it means it's kind of already happened. And yeah, so those are the 3 do's and don'ts of sales, and the things that you need to have in the back of your mind, and you need to be really conscious of. And if you do that, I think you'll be successful. So that's kind of the end of today's lesson. We're going to keep extending this. If there are specific traits or specific thoughts that you have, would love to hear about them in the comments. It's the beginning of the year, so I think we're a little quiet on the live stream front. I'm sure people are back in the offices, hustling and bustling, and not a whole lot going on. But if you have comments, please provide them. We'd love to add some additional sales skills to this deck for people to get some knowledge from. So I think that is really the end of today's lesson, and probably going to close this show out maybe a little bit early today. Our interview went a little bit shorter than expected, but that's all right. We really appreciate having Mayank on from Big Scale today. Once again, if you're interested, you can go to bigscale, bigscal.com, and they will provide you 14 days of free development work. So that's pretty awesome. Would love to know what some people could get done in 14 days. That's from a development project, pretty minimal, but maybe you can get some good quality work. So would love to see what some people can get done with kind of that free offer. The other thing, if you are interested in being a guest, you could head to oh man, got that URL wrong. Let's correct that real quick. Can you believe it? Got my own URL wrong. All right, let's pop that up again. You can head to Zimmer, ZIMMERZ.com to sign up. It's pretty simple. New slots open daily, and really what we're looking for is just some people to come on and talk about their experience, their sales experience. You don't have to be a salesperson. You can be somebody that offers services. You can be somebody that sells products. You can be somebody that makes products. So really open on the type and quality of guests that we are looking for right now, but really looking for open conversations so that people can see kind of how different people think, how the sales process works. It's my opinion that this format of communication, kind of a digital first format of communication, is unique and different, and it's something that really none of us is accustomed for. I would actually probably argue that kids in elementary school are maybe more accustomed to it than those of us that are a little bit older, simply because they've been brought up with it at this point, and it seems maybe natural for them. And for the rest of us, it's unnatural. It is something you got to get used to, and really a unique skill. So that's what we're trying to do here. Obviously there's some amount of self-promotion here. There's some amount of third-party company promotion, and then there's some part of really trying to give you, the viewer, some interesting knowledge that you might take and improve yourself as well. So if you want to go to Zimmerz, ZIMMERZ.com to sign up. New slots open daily. We basically open new slots on a 7-day rolling. Doesn't cost anything. We just ask you to come on, have an open, honest conversation, and be ready to discuss. So I think that's going to do it for today. Appreciate you joining. Like always, if you've got questions, comments, feedback, hit me up on any of the channels. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and of course, primarily LinkedIn. And we will see you next time. All right. Take care.